KZOZ.com. That's where you can check this show out live online. This is the Red Zone Challenge.
And recorded on demand.
Yeah.
Live online and recorded on demand.
It's brought to you by our friends at Firestone-Walker Brew. We've got Ali Razi on the line here, who's probably very happy because things went very well for him last week. Numbers, throw them out. There's only one number to remember. Then the number is 3. All right, and that is that I am 3 games behind this guy. It doesn't even matter where you're at, Jeff. Sorry, I don't mean to be insensitive.
No, it's fine.
But honestly, the number is 3, and that is I have to pick opposite of you this week, and I have to pick opposite of you in the Super Bowl, and then I have to win the tiebreaker. And this is exactly the situation you and Ollie were in last year, right, Jeff?
Yeah, it was. So there's hope for you, Jeremy, from the standpoint of...
You can't be that... I mean, you can be lucky. But you can't be that lucky, right? To do it twice, 2 years in a row?
I think he'll emerge just fine.
No, I think
I'm feeling pretty good right now. I gotta admit.
So this is how we got into this situation, and that is the Chokers choked, and the Philadelphia Eagles came up short. And I picked both of those teams. Ollie had picked the Patriots and the...
Well, you were riding high during that Philly
Saints.
pick, weren't you? You were like, all right, things are going good. Things are going good. Things are not going good. And then...
I gotta admit, I kind of pooped my pants a little bit at the end of that game too.
You pooped your pants.
I thought for sure when they missed that field goal that Philly was going to come back and win. I was like, oh boy, here we go.
And here
again.
they are. They're driving. But they have to score a touchdown, right? They were down by 6.
Yeah.
And Foles throws it to McCaffrey, his number 1 receiver. Not McCaffrey.
No, Alshon Jeffrey.
Jeffrey, sorry.
But they rushed it. That was the weird part. Was I didn't understand why they weren't trying to take time off the clock. And I guess that would be. I would have loved to known like what was going through everybody's head. It was like, all right, they're not set, and then we're going to rush this pass, and it just happened to bounce up and out of his hands. So it was just a weird set of events. And then I didn't quite understand why New Orleans. They called that timeout, and you thought that they were going to try to run their best play. And then they ran Kamara right up the middle, and every time that, what was his name, Fletcher Cox, is that the guy on Philly?
Yes.
Every time he was in the game, he scared the crap out of you because he was just shutting them down. And so why they thought they could run up the middle instead of doing some other little play to get more yardage for a better field goal was the other weird one. It was just a weird end of game. And then, you're like, oh, no, I think Philly's going to come back and score. And, the train goes again. And then, just that fluke bounce up in the air, and the Saints had it.
Yeah, so here we are. And we don't even really need to talk much to you because you already told us you got New Orleans, Kansas City in the Super Bowl, so I know which way your picks are going.
Yep.
So thanks for jumping on the podcast. We'll talk to you later.
But I'm really curious. I think these games are so. I mean, I look at these games. I'm going, God, these really could go either way. Yeah, New Orleans is at home, but God, they almost lost to Philadelphia. Now they got the Rams coming in, which obviously the Rams started off a little bit hotter earlier on this season than they did towards the end. But I think you could say the same for New Orleans. And then you got Kansas City hosting New England. And God, I really thought the Chargers were going to be able to beat Tom Brady, and he bitch slapped him. I mean, that score doesn't even represent really how bad that they put the beat down on San Diego. So, and Kansas City's defense isn't that great.
Doesn't it make you feel like they were playing possum for like the last half of the season? Because, New England didn't. That was what I was most excited to see, was New England come out and look like that, because now we know we got a real game here coming up this Sunday between the two of them. So that's going to be I would not be surprised on any outcome. But you're right, I am going with New Orleans and Kansas City still for the Super Bowl.
So that's really all we need to know. All right. But, Jeff, who do you got?
Oh,
we'll start. Yeah, who do you got?
This is the only.
And do you want to talk about point spreads? I think that I saw the Chiefs are favored by 3
Yes.
at home over New England. I didn't see the New Orleans spread.
I think
though.
it was 2.5.
Okay,
is what I saw.
I even think that's high. It should be 1.5.
I'm gonna go.
Both games.
I'm gonna go with the Patriots and the Rams. Even though I want to see the Chiefs and the Rams, I'm gonna go with the Patriots. I'm gonna go with both underdogs.
Are you really?
In the Super Bowl.
That's what I have to do.
Yeah.
Because, Ollie, you are going to go New Orleans and Kansas City, you said. So
Yep.
I have to go opposite of you. So, and you know what? I look at that and I don't feel terrible about it. I'm not going to lose sleep
You
over
shouldn't.
this.
No.
But,
You
we
shouldn't at all.
listen. All right, there's something called karma, and it hits me right in the face. And so I know I'm going to be drinking a lot of beer. And we all know that we're going to be there all day. Because I can't beer bong. You saw that. I tried to do a 24-ouncer, and, most of it sprayed out the side of my big fat mouth.
I was going to say, karma's not going to be the only thing hitting you in the face.
I just hope you two will be nice to me like I was nice to you, Jeff. And I gave you 805 lager.
Yes. I will be nice. I don't know. It'll depend on what day we do it on and what my feelings are on you on that day.
Oh.
You remember how nice I was to you the week before?
Yeah.
Am I ever that nice to you? No. Come on.
So, yeah, you did. You played me like a fiddle, like a flute. All right, there it is. So I got L.A. and I got New England. And I believe
Yes.
let's do we got to do a points. We got to do it. Oh, no, we don't have to do a tiebreaker. We don't have to do it.
No, not till the
this
Super
week.
Bowl
It's
if
not
we
gonna-
get there.
Yeah, that's going to be a moot point probably. I got a question. I got a beer question for you, Ollie.
Yes, sir.
So,
Let's hear it.
Dustin brought in the
Resilience
IPA,
Yes.
and he left behind a growler. And I found the growler in the back of my refrigerator. Holidays, you get busy, things block it.
It's in the can. It's
It
not
was-
a growler. It's called a crowler. I
Crowler,
think.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Is in the crowler.
Which I think makes a difference on age.
32 ounces. So I find this crowler and I see that the can on date is 12/19. I find it on Sunday night. Okay. So this is what, the 13th, I guess? 14th? 13th. And I find it on Sunday night and I'm like, I'm not going to just throw it out because it says right on there, drink within 3 days of being canned. And I was like, oh, well, this is probably no good again, but I'm going to try it. I'm just going to try it and see. It still tasted amazing. Why does it say drink within 3 days on the crowlers?
Well,
when
they
buy
want you
them?
to drink it at its freshest point.
Yeah, that's pretty much it at its ultimate freshest point. The cool thing about the crowler versus a growler, because the growler you just have that twist on top, and so you're hoping you're not going to lose CO2, which, people put it in their car, drive long distance, all of a sudden car's shaking, you're going to lose some CO2 out of that crowler. Out of the growler. In the crowler, so for people that don't know, it's essentially a giant can, and then we purge it with CO2, and then we fill the beer in there. So we try to get all the oxygen out of there, and then we put the lid on it, and then essentially the lid gets sealed up, and you have a giant can of beer. But that keeps all the CO2 in there because there's no way for the CO2 to actually leak out of the crowler. So we purge it as well as we can because oxidation is what you're trying to go against. You don't want that weird off flavors occurring from oxidation. So, yeah, you do. If you put it in your fridge, you keep it in there, you got time to drink it. You don't have to drink it within 3 days.
It tasted
Couple
every
weeks,
bit
no
as good, a little bit better because the kids were driving me nuts. So, it tasted every bit as good as when he brought it by that morning when we did the taste test with CCB, and I was just like, wow, okay, well, I guess. Do you trust? Beers, they say drink by dates and canned on dates and all that stuff. You could stretch it most of the time, right? Depending on how you keep the beer.
So here's the thing: it's like we at our place we're battling oxygen ingress in any packaging. So we try to have the lowest levels of oxygen, whether it's our cans or our bottles. But what else occurs for oxidation is temperature. So if you go to the store and you see a ton of beer on the floor, because that's how marketing people set it up, they want it on the aisle so it catches people's eyes. Well, you want the stuff that's been cold stored from the beginning of its life to the end of its life. And the longer you cold store something, the better off it's going to be long term. So yeah, you're right. A beer that's been warm stored for 90 days versus a beer that's been cold stored for 90 days, are going to have completely different freshness levels from a flavor standpoint. And we prove it all the time in panel. Something that's been 90 days cold stored can have no oxidation occur to it. Something that's been 90 days warm stored can be roached and not drinkable. But that's from a brewer's palate too.
So, but what you're saying is if, no matter what the beer, you should always keep it as cold as you possibly can.
Always keep it cold. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And then when a place says that they have the coldest beer in town, how is that proven?
I guess if you see ice floating in it, I don't know. Some of the marketing stuff is so ridiculous, like cold filtered. That means absolutely nothing. You can't filter stuff warm. All of those like terms you hear on the commercials are all just baloney. Yeah. So.
It's good to know.
It is.
It's good to find this kind of stuff out. It's thanks for enlightening us.
One more thing is, we won't let trucks leave here unless we have refrigeration on them, because we want everything cold as long as we can control it. So all of our trucks are refrigerated. Everything that we do has refrigeration involved, and it costs a little extra penny, but we want to make sure the customer gets the freshest beer we can get to them. So.
And you guys,
there's not too many people complaining, so I think you guys are doing a fine job.
And you guys, which is nice is that, for most of your beers, you have the equipment. You're big enough to where you're sending your stuff all over the country, and you can do that. But some of these smaller breweries, that's kind of where I figured out this whole drink right away thing, is they don't have that.
Yeah.
So it's really important. You get to some of those craft breweries, the smaller ones, that don't have that equipment, and to drink their beer right away, you don't want to sit on it. And everybody is asking what makes Mind Haze different than everything else. And we do have the ability, since we are a slightly larger brewery here, to use the best technology for packaging our stuff to make sure that our total oxygen levels are the lowest they can be, to make sure that there's no actual yeast making it into that unfiltered beer. So what you're drinking is actually just the haze is coming from the protein in the wheat, and not necessarily yeast that's going to settle out in that beer. So that's why like our hazy, I'd say if we did the test versus somebody else's hazy, you could drink it in 60, 90 days and it would hold up a heck of a lot better than some of these smaller breweries. And that's just because we have that advantage. But yeah, you're right. There you go. So get up there.
While you can.
You got to try the new hazy. Do you love it? 2 thumbs up?
Oh my God. Yeah, by far it's one of the best hazy IPAs, and I know it sounds biased, but it's one of the best hazy IPAs I've had, and super proud of it. It was a team effort, and we really kicked ass on this one. So.
All right.
I can't wait to try it. I'm loving. I mean, it's kind of like different styles of beer, right? And this is kind of like my favorite thing right now that I'm into. So can't wait to try the hazy.
It's definitely the progression of where IPAs have kind of gone. So
yeah,
and is it only available at the brew house and in restaurants, or is it going to be available in stores too? If you want to
no, it's everywhere. Okay. It should be at grocery stores now, actually. So
all right, run out and buy it.
You should be able to find it.
It kicks ass.
All right, gentlemen.
They really kicked ass with this one.
Go Pats! Go Rams! Go ram it!
All right, guys.
See you, buddy.
Good luck.
You can play along. We still have weekly winners giving away some great restaurant stuff.
Which, by the
KZFZ.com.
way, these games are 8 points apiece.
Yeah, so you're going to jump up.
So if you're up high, you want to make sure to put as much research into winning those tickets to the Firestone-Walker Invitational this upcoming June. It's the hottest beer festival ticket on the planet. It sells out in like 30 seconds. So we've got 2 tickets for you to go to it.
And you'll be drinking beers from all over the world.
Don't willy-nilly say,
all over the world.
I think the Chiefs got a chance to win. I mean, do some research if you're high up there in those standings.
All right. KZOZ.com. It's the Red Zone Challenge, and it's brought to you by Firestone-Walker Brew.